Hey, good morning, car guys and car gals. Welcome. This is Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
This is Frella Norris, the subprime hero.
And we are brewing solutions.
Man,
I got to get me another sip of car
Man, you
coffee
must have just
because I got to get my tongue together because we got a good conversation and a cup of coffee to enjoy with a friend that is on the other side of the dealership that really is going to bring you some great insight. And I'm really excited to get into this interview, but we are up early, just like all those people that work in fixed ops, folks. They are there watching the sun rise, getting excited to help people out with their transportation problems. So we want to get this brew started. So do us a quick favor. Tag a car guy.
You know what's up.
Tag a car gal.
Share this out, folks. We need some help. Let's get some people in here today because we got some great information from a superstar. Matter of fact, a little Hollywood going on. So we'll go into that a little bit more here in a little bit. But folks, we'll be back in a few moments. You guys know what's up. Make sure you guys tag it out.
Good morning, Charles. Tag him up. Tag him up.
See you in 2 minutes.
Focus. Fly. Keep running.
Hey, man, so excited. We are so pumped up. Hopefully you got your little groove on and that music is inside of your head. Again, good morning to Charles Higgins, my brother Joey Bell, all the way in the Middle East. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Service again, Joey, man. Glad you're here. I'm glad you're able to watch, man. It's pretty cool how we can do that across the world at different time zones, different parts, and be in complete different situations. So thanks for being here today. Folks, we have a great guest here today. We are really excited about this. This is a way to get our second season started, folks. We got the second season getting released on 1/20/2021, folks. Part 2, season 2, Car Guy Coffee, Let's Brew. All that stuff's getting ready to happen. And Russell Hill,
Hollywood,
Mr. Hollywood. So we're going to get into that a little bit more, but Russell is going to be joining us today. And Russell is a fixed ops mastermind type guy. You know, we've brought some fixed op guys on here before. We've made friends with some fixed op guys, and I'm very glad that I have. I've always been really close with my fixed ops and my dealerships that I've been involved with. I think it's great to have a team type of atmosphere with the people in the back, because those people are producing some big money. I know plenty of stores out there that would not even be open if it wasn't for fixed ops. Because the front side ain't doing what they're supposed to do. Or, so fixed ops is making the money for the dealer. So I'm real happy to have him here today, Mr. Russell Hill. And without further ado, here he comes. Mr. Hollywood, what's up? How you doing, Russell?
You're great. You guys are drinking way too much coffee this morning.
I'm only 2 sips in.
We're just getting started. So, we have people watching us right now on LinkedIn. We have people watching us on Facebook. We have people watching us on YouTube even. We spread it out there. So, you know, we're going to have a lot of fun. There's going to probably be some questions on here, but most important, I'm ready to question you and get some questions about what you do. I know that you're the co-founder of your company, man. I'm excited to get into that, how you got there, where you're from, all that type of stuff. Welcome to the cafe. We're real excited to have you here.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here. I'd like to shout out to Charity, our CMO, for setting this up. She's amazing.
Yeah, Charity reached out. She even reached out to me this morning. She was like, "Hey, what's the link?" I was like, I already sent it to Hollywood. He's good to go." So we are here. We're live. Charity, thank you so much for connecting us. Charity's obviously a hard worker for you, and she knows what she's looking for because she reached out to us. So we appreciate her, and we appreciate you for being here. I know that time is money, and money is time, and it's very important. So let's get this thing going. So Russ, we do this thing called a 5-liner. Now, these are 5 questions we ask everybody that come on the show, and it's a way to get to know how you got to where you're at and what drives you, right? So my first question that I love to ask everyone is it's a pretty important question, but before I get to any questions, we always got to do something with all our guests. It's a quick timeout. I almost skipped this, and I don't know how I almost did.
Turn out, T-Mark.
We're taking a couple weeks off of interviewing. Guys, we're happy.
Right?
So we're ready. The first thing we do at every show with every one of our guests, we apply 3 F's.
Why? Because it's so important that you apply these 3 F's so that you can have a lifestyle that you do keep growing. You keep going to that next level. You can never go to the next level unless you forgive. And you can't go to the next level unless you focus. And to rise, well, we fly. And flying takes a little bit of trust inside of yourself, trust inside of your people, trust inside of your creator, trust inside of your processes, right? And that's the way that you elevate yourself. So together, there is a little bit of a dance move. Can't wait till we get an entire dance floor of people together rocking the kid. Focus, man, it's going to be fun. But Russell, Hollywood Hill, welcome to the cafe, and you get to fly with these solutionaries today. Join us, car guys and car gals, wherever you're at. If you're driving, do it one-handed. But here we go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Forgive. Focus. Fly. And keep growing. Keep growing. There you go.
Yeah, you know what's up. I love it, dude. Perfect. Yes. No, we're so glad. Now you're part of the club. You are part of the Car Guy Coffee Cafe Club.
I love it. I love it.
We appreciate you. We appreciate the energy this morning, man. I love the smile. I love that you're willing to be part of this. That tells me this interview is going to be a lot of fun. So right into it. First question I ask everyone. It's their purpose. It's their why. What drives you? What is your why?
It's a great question. Really, it's all about the why, isn't it? It's not about the what or the how. It's all about the why. Most of the things that periodic things come into my head, and I don't think any of them are really original. I probably stole them or borrowed them from somebody else. But there's 2 important dates in my life, and one is the day I was born, and the other one was when I found out why I was born.
Ooh, love it.
And that started me on a tremendous journey of growth, looking inside. I sometimes reflect that we're not human beings that have occasional spiritual experience. We're actually spiritual beings having a human experience. The date I figured out why was December 1st, 1994. And that started the second half of my life on just a phenomenal journey of blessings, more than I could ever really talk about. And I owe it all to the man upstairs. But before that, it was pretty horrible out there, very selfish, self-centered, self-seeking. And today it's all about giving back and elevating other people. The old Zig Ziglar philosophy, right? If you help enough other people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. Maybe not in the time frame you think it should be. That's another thing you got to deal with, acceptance. But that's my why, giving back and family. And building something and leaving a legacy and a footprint that I contributed to mankind.
That's awesome.
Legacy. You're leaving your legacy on this planet. You're leaving a mark on this planet that is of good, of love. There's legacies that people can leave that are not good, such as, I don't mean, we're not comparing, but like an Adolf Hitler, a Saddam Hussein, those legacies are not what we're looking for.
No.
What we're looking for is legacies of peace, of love, of sharing, of growth, of continually looking to help other people, not just being selfish and man, you are definitely pioneering that way. I love your speak when you talk about your why. I love how you said you have a date. You know when you changed, when you went from living on the dark side till you got the Jedi way, right? So I'm so excited.
May the force be with you.
Amen. That's right. And it always shall. So, it's the thing about the force is real, folks. And whether you believe it or not, the force is real. And in order to tap into it, you have to really open up your mind. You have to really be in a certain way of life, and it's cheesy to say, but it is a Jedi way of life. You have to be understanding that you are a powerful person, that your mind has a lot more strength and ability than you could ever imagine, that you have a gift inside you. We all do. We all have gifts. The gifts are us to find. It's also our job to use those gifts. It's our job to use them in a good way. And gifts could be as simple as making somebody else smile, helping somebody buy a car, helping somebody get their car fixed, whatever that gift is that you have inside you, use it, share it, love it, man. And you're doing a great job with it. I'm excited. You got me all pumped up this morning. Man, good stuff. A lot of people come on here and they talk about their whys. They talk about these things. You went into depth about your date on it. Before you said 94, what did you do?
I was in the car business. I've been in the car business since '85, but it's nothing. It's really nothing that either everybody directly knows about or certainly have been impacted with their immediate family. Drugs and alcohol.
All right. Yeah.
Bad deal, man. It just destroyed everything I touched, and I'll tell you what. I realized. On that date, just on the December 1st, that drugs and alcohol really were never my problem. My problem was right here and right here.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. And I'm a strong believer that, of course, all of that's affected up here is by way of right here.
That's right.
Folks, I mean, whether we're looking at how life began, there's a spark that is that heartbeat that is created. So the first thing that starts actually moving and creating life is that heart. And that's what fuels the brain. That's what fuels the entire body, right? And as a man thinketh in his heart.
That's right.
So is he. So whatever it is that you believe about yourself at heart, not just the things that you say. Now, faith comes by hearing, right? And hearing the word. So the good word that's spoken over you or the bad word that's spoken over you, whatever you attach your faith to, is what's going to be. If you believe things are going to suck, they're going to suck. If you believe things are going to grow and they're going to be great and prosperous, we'll keep speaking that. If you feel as though your employees are going to be good, well, whatever it is that you say to them and whatever it is that you speak is what they believe. And that pours over into the home, that pours over into your business, that pours over into your relationships, your hobbies, everything that you do, period. And it's exciting to have somebody on the show that's starting us off right away in this entire new season that's coming forward, because there is a level of spiritual IQ that we want to make sure that we invoke you all to start growing in, that we get you all to start getting the understanding that your spirit man has to be lined up properly and growing in order for all of the other elements to come together. Remember, the spirit of joy, we're coming out of the Christmas season, right? The holiday season where joy is all over the place, right? And we speak of the joy and rejoice and exciting. And so many times it gets subdued to just that time of the year.
Man, it does.
And that type of a lifestyle is something that should be every day, right? Every single day you should be looking to be giving. Every single day you should be joyful. Every single day you should be trying to find the positive. And it's exciting to have somebody in here that's helping us get this started in 2021, getting you some of that joy and fun. Man, I'm so pumped up. Thank you so much for just, obviously, I'm pumped up now that
right.
You poked something in me.
You did poke something inside the bear right there.
Want to dig a little bit deeper with that. But on the car guy side of it, I am very, very interested on understanding more of the fixed ops marketing end, because we're some guys that really know how to handle things on the front end of a store. We understand marketing, how to get people showing up to say, hey, I want this deal on this car. But folks, there's a whole other level of marketing. And if you all get your mail, right? And you get your discounts on your tires, you got your discounts on your oil changes, you're seeing all the direct stuff that comes to you at home. There's a whole other side of marketing that keeps feeding the big hungry monster of the back end of every single dealership. And you are a specialist inside of that. And I want to know, Russell Hollywood Hill, how did you get involved inside of fixed ops marketing?
Well, thank you for the kind word, specialist. I don't know. I'll just remain a little humble there. I mean, I cut my teeth on the variable side, and I was actually in retail for 16 years. I left the retail space in January of 2000, and I went to work for an actual CRM company. Well, it wasn't even that at the time. About 6 months after I started there, we started transitioning over to CRM. And I was there for 11 years, and I saw, I ended up after 11 years getting a piece of the company just from sweat equity. So I learned a lot about stock and partnership, et cetera. And then I saw things changing. Technology was taking a different twist. I decided I wanted to do something different. So I took the money that I had, and I actually bought into another company, which was a technology company that had to do with new and used specials. And after 9.5 years of that, and I've always known a lot about fixed ops, not as much as I know about variable, but just enough to be really dangerous. But when I'm out of my element or I'm talking to a real fixed ops guru, because there's so many different aspects of fixed operations, the part that we are into and that we excel at is on the marketing side of that, particularly with the website. An example, you mentioned earlier about fixed ops has always been the saving grace they're the ones that make all the money. And yet they're treated like stepchildren, redheaded stepchildren that you hear about, particularly on the website. So I remember when websites first started coming on the scene in the late 90s, and they've evolved to where they're at today, which is phenomenal. But most of the time, tension, and effort is spent on the front end and hardly anything on the back end. Now, we know that the second most visited content page on any dealer's website is the specials tab. Next to inventory, if you look at heat maps, that's the number 2 or number 1 most clicked after inventory, because people are looking for specials. It's got a positive connotation associated with it. And that's where all 4 of the dealers' profit centers are located online, right? New and used, and obviously parts and service. So my partner and I, from the other company that we sold all our stock back and walked away from, we had this vision, we had this dream. So we spent about a month and a half putting together a very detailed business plan that we wanted to revolutionize the fixed operations side of things on the website and pull these dealers out of the 20th century into the 21st century, because let's face it, it doesn't. What we do and what's out there right now, nobody does. But I mean, you can go on some websites now, and you'll still see pictures of scissors cutting out a coupon. Are you kidding me? Now you won't see that on the variable side of things. They got all the fancy tools and all the things to funnel customers and to convert them, etc. But they don't have any of that. So that's what we did. We actually rolled this out this year. January 7th is our go live date with our first store, and then COVID, right? COVID hit. So all my dealer vendors, stores are closing. Everybody's panicking, don't know what to do. But guess who's still essential? Fixed operations, right?
Damn right, yeah.
Now, back in 2008, when that happened, same thing, but nothing like this. I mean, everything has changed. Technology, shopping habits, what people want, how they want to interact with it. And you better serve it up, and you better serve it up with 3 clicks or less, or they're out of there. Yep. And so that's what we did. We formulated this company, rolled it out January 7th. We got 118 stores during COVID.
Ooh,
yeah. Wow. Brand new clients. It's been a ride.
Wow, that sounds like one right there.
What an adventure of discovery, though.
Wow. No, it is, and you're man. Yes, it is. Woo! So fixed ops is huge, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And what I love is that there's there's been some pretty good figureheads popping up and bringing light to fixed ops. You know, you're one of them, and I love that. There's we had another guest on here, Dave Foy. He's fixed op mastermind. I love Dave. Dave's a great guy, doing some good stuff. You got Ted Ings out there doing the roundtables and everything else like that. So by doing all those things, it's bringing so much light to where it's making people excited about being part of fixed ops. So you're going to start seeing in the next 3 to 4 years, you're going to see an increase of really good car people in fixed ops. Because people are really starting to see that you can be a superstar in fixed ops. It's not just about being a mechanic turning wrenches or where there's a chance back there that you can become way more than you could ever imagine, right? You can help so many people. Like you said, during this time, you guys were essential. Fixed ops people are essential during COVID. All this stuff because they needed to be there. People still need their cars fixed. They still need their cars to be runnable for all the essential workers that were driving to work also, right?
Exactly.
And so on and so forth. So that became a big thing. On the front side of the house, not quite as essential as the back side of the house anymore, right? The back side of the house is where the profit center was for all these dealers out there that were trying to, keep their stores open. So I could tell you, I would say a majority of dealers out there, if they didn't have fixed ops, if they didn't have a good program in the back, if they weren't running it right, they probably would be shutting down or very close to shutting down right now. Those fixed ops help them maintain good money, help them keep the doors open, help them maintain payroll, help them maintain a sense of normalcy throughout all this, right? But then at the same time, there's people like you showing them how during all this you could grow massively, how you can become so much more than you were before. If you go through this situation, you learn, grow, expand. By the end of COVID, you're going to be a huge fixed op just master, right? You're going to be, and that's what you're doing, and I love it. I can see your passion. I loved your answer to that because you can get answers from people about their career, and it's very short answers. That doesn't mean there's no passion in it, but when someone gives you an answer like you just did, that lets me know that you're really passionate. You know what you're talking about. That you have steps lined up. You know how to implement what you're trying to implement. The whole nine. I love it.
And it makes it easy because this is like a talk show, right?
Yeah.
So we definitely know that our audience sees us talking plenty.
Yeah.
When our guests jump in here and get to explain and get to say things and get to speak. It's exciting. Thank you so much for doing that and for highlighting that this time there is growth inside of business.
Big time.
You have such a key piece of growth that's coming because now people are listening for the solutions to actually start brewing inside of their business and their operation. And it's not like those seeds haven't been sown over the years. It's not like you haven't been knocking at dealers' doors or saying, hey, guys, there's a solution and I could help, right? But then when everybody says then COVID, right? Then COVID happened. And everybody says, what do I do? What do I do? And then say, hey, remember me? I got a solution for that. I have a way to help get you out there. And that's so important that everybody pays attention to the facts that there are solutions that are out there that maybe you've already looked past. So it's time to start going through that pile of cards, right, of people that said, you know what, I got a solution for you.
Exactly.
And I like that what you're doing right now is making sure that the key to understanding that the fixed ops side is a valuable area where you have to invest a little bit of marketing.
That's right.
Now, our particular dealership, we don't have an actual service department where we service customers. It's a complementary side of the sales department. So although they're very valuable in the back, those that keep the cars running, keep everything good, making sure everything's looking good, they are a part of making sure that product is standing tall and looking good when it gets presented to the customer. Inside of that, like you were saying, there's a huge profit center that's actually what keeps the dealership running, and it's in the back.
Pays all the bills.
And that was treated like a stepchild. So that we don't treat like the redheaded stepchild, right? I have a stepson, and I absolutely love him as my boy, so I don't treat any of my kids any different. But I do want to treat everybody like family. So let's talk about the rest of our family that's helping this message get out to you today. And I want to talk about Elite FI Partners and our solutionary friends that are over at that incredible company that is making sure that people are getting solutions inside of their finance department I mean, Michael Offmuth is a champion of making sure that processes, people, and products are in place everywhere it is that he goes. You can get information by going to EliteFIPartners.com. You can also get information about how to think big by talking to
Think Ad Group. Yes. And Think Ad Group, they're amazing, man. It's the thing about the Think Ad Group, it's more than just a sponsor. They're a partner with us. They're friends of ours. They're family of ours, you know, and so is Elite and pretty much every partner we've ever partnered up with. When we pick out a partner, we actually choose our partners. We don't just take any sponsor that comes on here. So to have people like the Think Ad Group, Elite FI partners, and the couple more that we'll be announcing here in the next 7 days, it's real exciting to talk about these people because it's partnerships. You know, it's really nice. Just much like when we have somebody like Russell on the show, that's a partnership here now. Now Russ is part of the family. Russ is part of the Car Guy Coffee, you know, community, the cafe, the whole nine. So I appreciate you for being here today, Russ. These sponsors are amazing, and you know, they're really great people. And I'm sure they're watching right now, or if they're not watching right now, they're going to be watching it later, and they'll love what you're doing because you're somebody that they would love to have on the think tank. And I'm going to invite you to that. And we'll talk about that some more. But you would love it. You're perfect for it. You're everything. Speaking of sponsors, look at Terry. Anyway, I'm not going to say much more than that. But no, we're really happy to have you here today, Russ. You know, we're throwing in these sponsors really quick because we do love them. We do appreciate them. And matter of fact, this 5-liner was brought to you by both of them, folks. And we're going to keep going. So question number 3 for you today, Hollywood. And the reason why I'm going to ask you this is that it's because you're talking about your growth right now. You're talking about what you do. You're talking about your purpose. But somewhere in there, around 94, or maybe after, or maybe before, there was somebody that really influenced you. Somebody that helped you see the path of life. Somebody that got you to that next level. You know, we all have mentors. We all have people that influence us, whether it's somebody you've met, whether it's somebody you have never met, but you read their book, or whatever it is. Who would you call that person, and who would that person be?
Dale Carnegie is one, but you know, I really had when that date occurred, I had a really profound spiritual experience, and I knew something had to change. And I realized in that moment, which is something that never happened the previous 34 years of my life, that it wasn't anybody else's fault anymore. Every decision, every situation, every consequent was my fault. It was nobody's fault anymore. I didn't blame anything. I grew up and became a man that day, but I really didn't know what a man was. I really didn't know what a father was, what a son was, what a husband was. So these are all things that started me on that journey from that day forward. And I realized that, you know, Albert Einstein said the significant problems and challenges that we face today can't be solved at the same level of thinking used to create them. So something had to change. And I realized that even more so today, that at this moment in time, I'm a sum total, this is just my experience. I'm a sum total of everything I've ever heard, seen, read, or done up until this moment. So, you know, we've all heard the definition of Sandy, right? Keep doing the same thing, expecting different results.
Right.
And everybody keeps doing the same thing. So I got involved with some people and some training in my life. And I realized that all my life, I've been listening to people says, you can't do that. I tried that. That won't work. And they got interrupted by somebody who just did. I stopped listening to those people. So one of my mentors, he asked me, when he knew I was ready, one of the first books I ever remember really reading was How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It was just a phenomenal book. And he said, Russell, I just want you to read 15 minutes a day. And he said, if you'll do that. And I said, I can do that. He said, no. Reading 15 minutes a day is not as easy as you think it is, especially when you haven't read, right? Which most people don't. And he said, 15 minutes a day, if you do that, I promise you that your life will transform in a year. And it wasn't 6 months. And it kept me thirsty. So one of the things that mentor taught me was that what you read, what you listen to, and who you associate with have a direct impact on your output today. So if you're not putting new stuff in today, you're going to keep getting the same crap tomorrow and the next day. And the next thing you're looking back going, what happened? What happened? I am responsible today for what happens today and where I go from this day forward. And that's attributed directly to other people that I impact and work with on a daily basis.
Oh, I love it. Man, you make some of the best answers. I love you, Russ. Now, let me tell you something.
I love you too, man.
You're awesome, man. No, it is true. You are a direct reflection. You are a direct of every influence that you've had up to the moment that you are at this second, right? And it's so true. Much like right now, you're influencing me. There's going to be ways that I do things differently because I'm listening to what you're saying. You know, and it's crazy to say that. It's neat that you're talking about the 15 minutes a day for reading books. I know it's just a small section of what you said, but folks, I don't know if you guys heard that. 15 minutes a day is not as easy as it sounds. Mm-hmm. It really isn't. You know, trust and believe. I'm not the biggest reader, but I do read. And I know that 15 minutes a day sometimes doesn't happen. Even though I plan it, I have it written down in my book. I have it written down everywhere.
Right.
You know, and it's funny that you said 15 because that's about what I write. I write 15 minutes, read 15 minutes, read 15 minutes. And I have plenty of books that I'm absolutely in love with. But then there's times that life happens. Sometimes I want to hang out with my wife a little longer. Sometimes I don't. I want to watch a show that I'm watching, which I should be reading a book instead. Right. But so you'll realize that. So folks, when you have reasons and you come up with these excuses of like, why am I not growing? It's because you're not putting that 15 minutes in. I promise. You know, and it's like he said, if you truly do that every single day, you will see leaps and bounds of growth. It's unbelievable by reading stuff that is informational that will help you, that is patterned to help you grow. Like you're talking, there's so many books out there that you can read that are just powerful. I mean, and there's more books coming out every single year. And I absolutely feel so lucky that I'm in a world where there is that type of knowledge out there, where there's people out there trying to share that type of knowledge. So I want to gather as much of it as possible. That's why we do this show. We have people like you on the show. I am just soaking in knowledge right now. I'm soaking in all this stuff. And I know that you are too when you watch them. And when you have a conversation, it's always two things going on. You're teaching and you're learning, you know, and I love that you're doing that. And it's real exciting to see that, you know, you brought up a few names there. And I know that, you know, you talked about an author, you talked about this, and I'm really glad that you brought those names up. You know, when I could talk about, if somebody asked me that question, I could probably bring up 10 names, you know, to include authors, you know, people that are, you know, associated with this career field. And then there's also people that I'm very close with that I would put in that list. You know, it's hard to name one person. It's like when someone goes up and wins an award and wants to thank, you can't just thank one person, right? You know, you want to thank everybody when the music comes on, right? So, but, you know, it's nice that you brought up a few people, but then you also explained why those people are important, or how any type of information from reading a book or doing those types of things can be so powerful for somebody in a growth mode. So yes,
that's an incredible book. It's actually a book that I gave our salesperson, brand new to the business, Lamar, right? So he's just come in. We've just trained him up. He's starting to have success. He's leading the floor, right? And when you start to lead the floor inside of the car business, and you're starting to have this great growth, and you're, oh man, I got all these appointments, man, I'm selling all these cars, I'm making more money than I ever knew what to do with, right? There has to be a level of camaraderie that you start to build, seeds that you sow, to where people don't hate you as you rise up, right? So I was like, okay, I got to go find this real quick. It wasn't going to be ordered before Amazon, so I ran my wife all throughout Barnes and Noble. We're sitting there looking all over the place, and in one little spot there it was, How to Win Friends and Influence. This is it. This is what I was looking for. We need to get him this. So that was inside of his Christmas present. He got to actually open it yesterday. But you said something else there. Again, that's an incredible book, folks. Go read that. Of course, not all books point to exactly the situation that you need fixing in, but that is an incredible book if you want to make sure that you put your verbiage in place to make sure that you win the friends that are going to help you raise yourself up where you need to go, right? Trying to, if you're a car guy and you're growing inside of your car business, make sure that you let some of your people split your deals inside of the floor. Make sure that you sprinkle out some of your appointments. And I'm just giving that tip to you. For those of you that are setting more appointments than you can physically deal with, don't be greedy. Let some of your other salespeople, let other people work that job for you. And you'll notice how excited people will be when you get to have a customer, when they're then cheering you on because they get to take a part inside of your success. It's so key that you utilize those tools. But there's something else that you did say about not growing and how intentional you were about what you put in. Folks, if you find yourself not growing, it's because you're not sowing. It's impossible for you to grow something if you don't sow a seed. Okay. And when you're putting things that are inside of you that are positive, that are uplifting, that are putting you moving in the right direction. Your walk of faith, right? You're making sure to get the word in you. You're making sure that the right thoughts about yourself are being understood. And that's where there's a renewing of the mind. You can only be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And when your mind starts to see yourself differently, a child that believes that they're not loved starts to be loved, they act differently. I mean, you can see the evidence in a dog, right? If a dog is neglected, treated wrong, abused, and then all of a sudden starts to receive love, their response is different. A lot of times people aren't acting out of just their personality. I believe that innately we are designed to be good. We all have the same creator, and he designed us in his image. But we get to thinking bad thoughts and cliche thoughts, especially in the car business. Everybody, a lot of people already have a cliche or premeditated thoughts about what car guys are. Whether you're a mechanic, you're a thief. If you're a salesperson, you're a thief. You're trying to work them. You're trying to steal from them. You're trying to hurt them.
Trying to get underhanded with them.
Yeah, and anybody that does this does it as a part of wanting to help.
You know, and that's the whole point of the Car Guy Coffee podcast, is for us to change that. You know, and we have guests come on and show that this world is not like that. That car people out there. Don't get me wrong, folks. We do make profit, and we're here to make profit. But everybody's making profit. That's how this world turns.
That's right.
You know, so if you're a business, you're not supposed to lose money. You're supposed to make profit. Now, there's a difference between profit and ripping people off, right? There's a difference between profit and lying to people to make money, because that will not last. There's this thing called, you know, longevity, and longevity only occurs is if you do the right thing over and over and over. Longevity of growth, constant growth. You have to do the right thing, constantly be looking for improvements, and constantly going to that room that's the biggest room in the world, the room for improvement, and trying to be the best version of yourself, your business, or whatever it is, you know. So kudos to you, man. You're speaking all the right language. I know that you're educating yourself. I can tell that you're on the right path and have been for a very long time. I'm so glad we've crossed paths. I'm so thankful for that. You know, we do have somebody that wanted to ask a question, though. We have Terry Torline, a good friend of mine. Terry says, we are familiar with the service drive. How do you see the transition to a sales drive going forward? It's a good question.
A sales drive. Yeah, I think I need a little bit
more detail on that. Me too. I was kind of curious about that. I didn't know maybe you understood what he was meaning. So obviously, you know, we're familiar with the service drive, right? What do you mean by sales drive, Terry? Throw that back in there. Explain that question a little bit more, but I do appreciate the question, Terry.
Thank you.
It says, Wendy says, love it. If you're not growing, it's because you're not selling. Good job.
That's right.
That's right. Then we got TK up in here. Hey, gentlemen, what's going on, Tina? Hope you're doing good. And then let's see, we have
there he is.
Profit is not a bad word. That's
no,
right.
It's not.
Service contracts, product warranties, parts on, etc. Okay.
He's adding to the question. He's trying to line that in there. Well, we'll see if we can tie that in together, Terry. If you could put that on to one big question. But you got something for that, Mr. Russell?
No, I was gonna instead of you leading, I was gonna attempt to take control and lead you down a different path, but I'm not gonna do that. Go ahead.
Why not?
There are some rabbit trail followers over here, so this is a great conversation. Since we started early, let's continue having fun with that. Do you have a question as far as that goes?
No. I was just maybe this might allude a little bit to what he was asking. So, the most valuable commodity that everybody has is time, and you can't get that back. Anything else, you know, you can work around, but the time you can't get back. So that's the inherent problem. The stuff that we do is a big time factor. Everybody knows that the website, 98% of the people are going to hit your website before they ever convert, you know, chat, come in, whatever the case may be. So you have to make it enticing for them. Now, they've done a great job on the variable side, but once again, they haven't done it on the fixed side. So the problems and challenges that the fixed drive, there's a lot of phenomenal products out there. You all have to agree. Everybody for variable and for fixed. But for all the products that are out there for fixed, and they probably work beautifully, but here's what happens. Somebody has to manage it. 15, 20 minutes a day or 2 or 3 hours a week or something in order for it to really produce the results that they were pitched on of this wonderful product. And like I said, most of them probably are. Some of them are not. Some of them are smoke and mirrors, but most probably are really good. The problem is the time. their phone is blowing up, their office phone is blowing up, they got a service writer in there, they got a heat case standing out there, they got the boss on his way down. It's just they understand they need to have these types of things. Customers love specials. You think about email marketing when you're marketing customers, particularly with new and used vehicles. A lot of times they'll opt out. I don't know too many people that opt out when they get service specials, and we know that the vast majority, 75% of all people that roll into the service drive are there for oil changes. So we want to educate the customers. We want to help the service department, FixedOPS, do what they do best, and that is to take care of their customers in a timely manner. But they're not making money off one-line oil changes. 58% of all ROs are one-liners. They make their money on premium services, not on oil changes.
That's right.
They make it on flushes and alignments. And I was going to say tires. They don't make money on tires, but they stay in the game. Batteries and, all whether they use BG or WINS or they do it internally or whatever the case may be. So it's really important that someone out there fills this niche, and they have not really done that on the marketing side, on the website. They understand, but they're not marketing people. They're service people. They want to get people in, they want to get people out, and they want to create additional lines per RO. That's what we're about helping them do, and they don't have to manage it. That's
right.
A quick condensed version.
Because inside of FixedOPS, and this is where salespeople or the front end of most dealerships can get insensitive, is that the only ones that are literally selling time, because I know salespeople say, man, time is money. I need to be doing this because time is money, right? You can get the complaint all the time. But the only one actually selling time are the guys with wrenches. They're the ones that are actually charging for time, right? And each process that happens to a vehicle has a calculated amount of time that applies to that. And so when dealing with trying to handle marketing, well, man, I'm taking away from what hours I have scheduled in the back, this mechanic that's here, this job that has to get done, all of those cars that have to make it back in there, right? All of those time things are being sold. Those time slots are being sold. And it's so important that you do team up with people that know how to expedite your time. Get your service department into a marketable place quickly so that you're not spending more time doing the things that aren't actually paying you. But it is key that you're actually doing something that is intentional on putting those customers in front of you. Because you're right, the oil changes, I mean, usually those are sold for cost. Have them in there because you can usually find out that there's something else that's coming up that's going to be a problem in the car. Here's a suggestion. This is what you need to be sold. When walking the kids through a service drive and saying, okay, this is what's going to happen. They're going to say, this is what's going on with your filter. Recommend this, recommend that, right? Let them understand how this process is going to go because it has to be a process.
Right.
If you don't present that air filter 100% of the time, you're going to be affected by that profit center that says, hey, this air filter does actually make us some money. If we don't present it because the customer is in a rush, they don't want to hear it. But then when they get to see that air filter, which somehow magically, I mean, you can get an air filter last week, and then somehow when that air filter gets presented to you, it's gonna just dump out leaves and all. They're like, man, there's not even been leaves around. Where did these leaves come from? They're in my air filter. You know what I mean? But these are key things that have to be presented, and as long as the front end honors what the back end is doing, and everybody respects everybody's time, you can have a better cohesion and profit center inside of the entire store. So glad that you brought all of that up.
And it's true, if the whole store is working together, it's a beautiful, beautiful machine. I don't know if anyone's ever been to a dealership where the front and back are like smooth as a whistle. They're just boom, boom, boom. They're helping each other out. They know who each other's clients are. Like they know that Mr. Johnson is Bobby's customer up front.
Exactly.
And vice versa. Like when Bobby's customer shows up, he goes to Tom in the back, right?
That's right.
And there's something beautiful about that relationship that gets built up. As a matter of fact, most good dealerships, most good salespeople, they walk their customers that they sold into the back, introduce them to their service rep, introduce them to the service department, maybe even the mechanic that's probably going to work on the car.
And it's really all about, if you think about it, it's about information. And both of you alluded and touched on a couple things from the technician side to upselling to the lube, the express lane, to the riders, to all the different things that's going on. But the stuff that we're addressing, for example, which everybody knows is important, customers don't even know the difference between a conventional semi-synthetic or full synthetic oil change. They don't understand. They don't understand. Another thing service departments don't quite comprehend is that for every franchise dealer, there's 16 non-franchised entities that are jockeying and buying for that same business.
Yes.
Firestone, Pep Boys, Christian Brothers, NTB, Costco, Walmart, Sam, you name it. There are 16 of those. And they know the dealerships have been sleeping at the wheel until now. They're starting to wake up and realize that there's a huge missed opportunity. They still do what they do back there, but it's about educating the customer about things that are important on their vehicle. And it's not just about oil change and rotate and balance. It's not just about that. It's about so much more, but they don't really have that kind of exposure online. This is the stuff that FixedOPS marketing is revolutionizing.
That's awesome. And that would lead into the fourth question that we have here, which would be, what is it that you would tell a dealer right now? What would be the key piece that you would tell a dealer right now that they have to focus on concerning their fixed operations, especially since there are all of these other vendors that are able to service the customer?
Sure.
Customer is standing in there with a Kentari coupon, a Pep Boys coupon, and you're charging them, triple what an oil change is. They're already not trusting you just because they're getting the flyers in the mail from these other vendors. What would be the one key thing you would say to anybody on this approach inside of their FixedOPS market?
Well, it all depends on what the dealer's actually focusing on. I really tend to think, because of the educational part of what we do, that a dealership is every bit as competitive, except you have more advantages at a franchise dealer than, say, a Jiffy Lube or something like that. Actually, I know people that pay more at a Jiffy Lube for a conventional oil change than they do from the Toyota dealership down the street, but they don't know that. And
Right.
Customers tend to think that. So it's a huge education. But I'd say the biggest thing, if someone was contemplating when we're talking about their website, is something that saves them an enormous amount of time, because anytime that I'm talking to a dealer, because I ran stores for the last several years before I got out, it's like all they really care about is three things. What is it? What does it do? And what's in it for me? Tell me what those things are. And if you don't have to remember another username and password that I already have 15 of, and only 3 or 4 actually can even remember how to log into, let alone use the tool or whatever it is. So there's no usernames, there's no passwords. You don't have to manage anything. Now their ears start to perk up. They say, oh, okay, well, tell me more about this. I got to see this. And then, of course, when they see it, it's all over.
That's right.
It's over. Katie on the door. It's over.
Yeah, man, that's absolutely awesome, and I think that I love, and you're right, and not to, touching back a couple minutes ago, but you're talking about like how the whole auto dealerships are starting to catch up with all these places like, the Sam's Clubs and all these places that do all these little services that are discounted, right? But they advertise, they do all those things that they're supposed to do. They have, when you walk in, where it's at, where their shop is, all this type of stuff. So it's really a big deal that, that service departments at dealerships are starting to catch up to that, understand that, educating their clients. I think it's smart. I love that you use that word. You got to educate them. And because when people are ignorant to things, they don't want to deal with it. But when they become educated, just like when you start anything new, when you learn something, when you first learn it, you're kind of like, oh, I'm so taken back. It's just too much. But then once you learn, you realize it's not as bad as you thought. Then you learn more. Then you become a professional at it, right? Exactly. And that's exactly what it is as a customer. Most customers, because of the way they were treated or how they feel like they're getting gouged, they're not educated. They just hear what their parents talked about from 20 years ago. They hear what their grandparents said. You don't have to do it yourself. Well, in today's world, it's different. So you've got to educate. So when you get educated, it doesn't become foreign anymore. It's a lot easier for you to go to a service department, trust them, understand what you need for your vehicle, why it's important to have those things to your vehicle.
Now, in saying all that, the best way to probably do that, which the fixed side has pale dismally at is they're either static coupons that you can't do anything with, or you can only print them, or you might be able to schedule service. That's all old, out the window stuff. They're on your website right now. You got one shot to entice them and pull them in. I don't care if it's on the variable side or if it's on the fixed side. You got one shot, and it's going to leave an impression. Now, when you got something on there that's aesthetically very pleasing and beautiful and draws you right in, and every coupon has an embedded video in it that you can watch right inside the coupon that talks about the feature and advantage benefits of doing business at that franchise dealer with certified technicians. Now you're educating the customer. So what do you have now is the education process? You got a tool for your writers to use to send to your customers, either on their way to an appointment or out in the waiting room, about a radiator flush or a brake flush or tires or brakes or like whatever it is. Customers don't know. They don't know. And advisors, bless their heart, he or she, they don't have necessarily the time or the education to actually explain and upsell. They're just getting people in and getting people out. So let something else help you do the heavy lifting. Let's face it, they got all the video stuff that you need on variable. Have you ever seen it on the fixed side? Have you ever seen video coupons on the fixed side that have 6 calls to action for the consumer right there inside of that coupon? It's just, this is the future. The future is now.
That's right. That's
I love it.
an approach that so many people are starting to find out now is that, or the approach that people are starting to use now is making sure that video is part of the content.
It is.
So that you can have an understanding and interpret it. Me, I'm a visual learner, right? I still, if there's pictures on the menu, 9 times out of 10, I am picking out a picture that's on the menu and saying, I want it to look like the picture. Well, what kind of size? Whatever's in the picture, right? I want all of that inside on my plate, So but that's something that I 100% agree, especially somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. I mean, I take it like the dad that I am. I don't want my kids to go through things without at least having a little bit of a guide to them. And so that's why I would go for the ride with my sons through the service drive, with my daughters through the service drive, make sure that they know how to do that and operate it for themselves. But if they don't have that, if they don't have somebody to let them know how easy breezy this process is going to be, what to expect, what it's going to look like. I mean, I don't cook anything without watching a YouTube video now.
Yeah.
And so it used to be looking at the old recipes, but now it's, I got to watch a quick video.
Right.
I got to see how that happens.
Lou, it's the same thing on the dealership's website, if they have it. Some of them do. You can certainly read about this particular service, or you can watch a video that has tremendous call to action while you're there watching the short little video. And then you can hear and see and read all at the same time. And it leaves an indelible implant on what your next move is going to be versus some static coupon.
There's no doubt. I love that what we're talking about here. It's so important that you understand that your client is not you. Your client doesn't think the way you do. They don't have the knowledge that you have in your head. They have their own life going on.
That's right.
Everything is so they believe. And the biggest problem I think with service, and it's a generic term because most people, and I know for me, I'm only 42 years old, but in my life, I always believe that sometimes I take stuff and they're not fixing the right thing. They're not listening to what I say. They're not educated. So it's nice to know that if you can get educated and you find a dealership that seems like they know what they're talking about, they have all these videos, and that shows validation to people. Perception is huge. So if your perception of the dealership or of the service department or whatever it is like, man, they're behind times. They don't really know what they're talking about. Right. Or you can have that perception of, look, we have informational videos. We have educated technicians working in this service department that know exactly how these cars work because they are updated on all the newest type of technology for these cars. They understand the new ways to fix. They have all the right tools.
Well, and
whatever it is, right?
That directly affects the variable side of things too.
Exactly.
So I know that when you're on a site, you got to consider, you guys, when you're online looking, like all consumers, just you start searching, and if you can't pull down what you're looking for by the third click,
that's right.
the numbers are astronomical of people exiting on that fourth click, fifth.
No doubt.
It's horrible. So you got to serve it up. You got to involve them. You got to touch all the senses, as many as you can, in order to get that conversion, whatever that may be, a text, an email, a print, schedule service, a call, whatever.
Absolutely.
And having the like you said, the aesthetically pleasing, it has to make sure that
It does.
people
No doubt.
You can always tell the difference between a service shop where customers are able to look into the service shop and not, right? When like say that this was an entire window and you're getting your cup of coffee and your car's in the back and you're just sitting there watching them do stuff, right? You can tell the difference between the actual service department that knows that the customer is able to see them and watching them, just how clean it is, how the process is done right, even how the uniforms are of the store, right? All of those things that the customer gets to see is what makes them more engaging with you. The more that, and transparency would be the word, I would say, of the new marketing word of the year, right? Where people can see what's happening. People are concerned about what it is that they don't know. And the more that we keep playing the poker game with the customer of, we got the cards to hold and you don't know what's going on, so we get to say things that you don't get. The customer's like, well, wait a minute, hold on. I know, my kids are going to Google it. They're going to YouTube it. They're going to try to figure all that stuff out so that they kind of know what's happening, because there's still the stigma of no trust out there.
Yeah, you brought up a good point about the Google. So we've evolved so much being a technology company from January 7th to today, that what we've developed now that, and alluding back to Charity, when we first started this, every day there's something. I don't care if it's on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn and other avenues, or hooking me up with you guys, which has been a tremendous experience. And you guys are, very passionate and full of enthusiasm. I really enjoy it. But, we've developed things to a point where now, and people have to sit back and go, I don't really think I understand. We have a full-blown service website inside of your existing dealer's website with built-in SEO and Google My Business daily drips to your GMB. It's just phenomenal technology. And, COVID is, we're really blessed that we got 118 stores in 11 and a half months. But 2021, Katie barred the door, because it's going to explode. People are starting to see through conversations with you guys and what you're doing and what you're practicing and what you're preaching and all the people you work with. People are hungry for that kind of information, because it's the same old when you go to a dealer's website and you're looking for some kind of coupons or something. Maybe there's only 3 or 4 coupons on there. You can't do anything with it. There's no real educational value. There's no real aesthetics.
Yes.
They're exiting out. Most people don't even track. There's a handful of dealers in the country who could probably tell you what their service and parts coupons actually convert at. And it's around 3 to 5%. The average person that uses our product that manages nothing, 20% conversion rates. Minimum.
That's pretty strong. That's huge. You're talking almost, that's like 10 timesing it. You just Grant Cardone that bad boy. So what I can say is that you obviously know what you're talking about. I love your numbers. You're very passionate and you're right. To me, it's logical what you're saying, because it makes sense. The more information you give, the more educated they are, the easier it is to be able to get to a website, the more information that you have on there to work. It's specific for that type of business, for your backside of the dealership. Like I love what you said, you have a dealership, a website inside of a website for them, right? It's huge, and it will change things, and people's eyes are opening. And the more education we give them, the better. I love that you said information, because information is huge right now. I think that's where people are going to make money over the next 20, 30 years. The information age is gigantic. The reason why it's so big, folks, and maybe I'm wrong, is because now that the access of information is right here, everybody wants to know. You remember there was a time, I don't know, who knows, right? You used to be like, who knows? Now it's like, I know, hold on, Siri, what is this, right? What is this? Google, search this. Whatever it is, you have it right here now. So whatever that you want, you can pull up. So if you're in the service game, if you're in the sales game, if you're in any type of game that has to do with customer service, customers, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do by giving them as much information, educating your clients, by not showing them the best way to do it, by not having something that's aesthetically pleasing to their eyes, to where they can hear something that they need to hear, and see something they need to see to be able to do something with what they're trying to do, then you're not doing it. If you're just hoping that stuff happens, that they just happen to show up at your store, happen to show up at your service department with these old ass piece of paper, like, coupons that $30 oil change. I mean, what are you doing there? You're wasting money. You're going to get, like he said, that 1 to 3% of people showing up using that. Or you can step it up a little bit, do the right thing, look for the long game, educate, inform your customers.
Exactly.
To where all they want to do is come to the person who told them the truth from the beginning. Right. The person who made it easy for them in the beginning. Because guess what happens? Once this information game becomes common across the world, the ones they feel the most comfortable with, because everybody will do it, everybody's going to end up doing it. So if you want to do it now, but do it right, and make sure that your customers are always getting that in front of them. Make sure they always know who you are, what you do, and how to get a hold of you. Period.
That's great stuff. I know we're about out of time, unless you're going to give us another hour. No, I'm just kidding. But one of my mentors told me a long time ago, he said, Russell, an opportunity is not an opportunity when everybody thinks it's an opportunity. They've already missed it.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And you're right. And that's the thing. It happens every single day. But it's never too late if you start now, folks, no matter where you're at. Just start right now.
Everybody starts in the same place, right? Everybody starts at the same place. Today, now.
Boom. And if you do it now, it's the best time. You can't, if you do it's I'll wait till I get this. No, do it now. At least start informing, educating yourself on how to do it. At least work towards it right now. Do not waste time, folks. Make sure you guys keep doing that. Folks, I got a 5th question for you. I know we rambled about that for a while. I love it. I can keep going on and on and on about that type of stuff because it is true. Information, educating, doing all that stuff, turning a profit, being an innovator, being all that stuff is so important, and you're doing it, Russ, and I appreciate that, Mr. Hollywood. But the 5th question I'm going to ask you today, and it's about your greatest reward. We've all been through this business. We've done some amazing stuff in life, even, not necessarily just business, but there's so many things that from doing the right thing, from becoming more of a forward thinker, doing all this stuff, what has been the greatest reward for you out of all the stuff that you've done?
Giving back, working with people who really want it. We've heard the old adage, you can, bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, that's true in life. I think that most people would like to change, but to not force anything on anybody. When they're ready, when the teacher's ready, the student will appear. And when the student's ready, the teacher will appear. It's just so important. I work with people every single day of my life, not just about recovery, but about life, skills, how to be a good husband, how to be a good father, how to be a good son. What is involved in that? A contributing member of society. So I want to talk about the why that you started the whole program with. Okay. It is. People go, why? No, it's all about the why. Because when people don't have a big why, or let's say somebody gets really excited about something they're doing, well, it builds a tremendous amount of enthusiasm, right? It does. They get all excited about the why or whatever in that moment. And that enthusiasm, excitement breeds action, right? They get into action. They're doing whatever it takes. And then they get the results. You always reap what you sow. It's never the opposite. You always reap what you sow. But if their why isn't big enough, then the enthusiasm level over here drops. The action isn't what it once was. The results decline, and you start to spiral down. And then somebody comes along and helps you find out what your why is again. So it's not about the what and how. It's always about the why.
Oh, no doubt. And I agree with that. The why has been a motivational force in my life, my whole life, and since I've had my son, that became a big why for me, as a young man. Because I always had whys. I always wanted things. I was like, I want to do this. I want to have this. But my why became super important. Like you said, a big why. Like, why am I going to go to work today? Why do I not want to call in today? Because I need to do this for my son. I need to show him what this person, that's how I was. And my why has changed, and I found different whys throughout my life. Don't get me wrong. My son's still a big part. My family is a big part of my why. Absolutely. But I have so many goals in my life, and I find whys all the time. I write whys down. I do daily journaling. I do all this stuff that helps me stay focused on it. I keep my gratitude going. I do all those things.
We got to be really careful about this right here. So all day long, that chatter, right, is going on nonstop. The chatter is going on, and people think that they're just victims of this good chatter, bad chatter, whatever it is. And that's not the case. You're actually the orchestrator behind that, watching that chatter, and you direct where that chatter goes and what happens. But you got to be careful, because when those thoughts, and you formulate them into words and you put them out there, you can't take them back.
That's right.
Once you put it out there in the universe, it's over. You can't take it back. And if you're not careful and you act on and react to your emotionally distraught state at that moment, the consequences are really dire. And you're also going to reap the results of those actions as well. So think, feel, and act.
Love that.
Ooh, man, great tip. Folks, I hope you guys heard that.
Yeah.
Because emotions are a very big part of every human being. You know, we a lot of us wear our emotions on our sleeves. You know, the key is being able to control those emotions. Think about what you're going to react. Because like you said, one bad reaction of you doing the thing can completely take down everything that you've been trying to build. Yeah. It really can. You know, think about people like Papa John, you know, built up that whole empire, the Papa John pizza empire. Then he said one thing that he should have never said. Completely ruined him. Don't get me wrong, the guy's going to probably end up, he's still fine. He's still fine. Yeah. But he's not Papa John no more, right? He's not the guy that everybody was in love with and everybody was all, oh man, what a great guy, what an amazing person. Now no one even really talks about him. Shaq's got that now, right? So that being said, it's very important to make sure you do those things. That was a great tip. Really great tip.
You guys are awesome, and I appreciate you once again having me on, and the fact that I got to talk a little bit about what we're doing and where we're going. And if anybody has any questions, I'm sure they'll know how to get in touch with me.
What's the best way to get in touch with you, by the way?
Just call my cell, which is 903-819-5253, or you can email me at Russell with 2 S's and 2 L's at FixedOPsmarketing.com.
Awesome. Guys, gals, all you solutionaries that are out there, as you complete this cup, and we're at just about the end of ours.
I know it's empty. It's empty.
So it's important that you put something back into it, right? It's very important that we don't leave it just at this. There were so many great nuggets that were dropped throughout this entire brew, and you keyed on something, and I want to kind of finish where you started on your why. You know, it was building this walk, this new understanding inside of your thinking from within outward, and it's not what goes in you that defiles you. It's what comes out of you. That's right. Scripture. So there's a lot of negative and there's a lot of bad. And those people that are slower to speak, and when they do speak, they speak intentionally. They do give the right information. They do speak things that are uplifting. That what comes out of you is what defiles you if it's negative. But it also brings life. You have discussed your why. You've discussed your greatest reward. We've understood the why. A customer's only showing up to your website because they have a problem. They're only taking the upgrade to that service package, right, of whatever case scenario, because there's a why behind it. They want their car to operate better. Why? Because it's going to save them money. Why is that important? Because I only make so much. Why? All of these whys all connect together, and it is so key that you have an approach to your marketing that helps a person understand why they need it, why it's important, and why they need to do business with you. And I'm so thankful that you are a solutionary that's bringing these solutions to dealers. So excited that 2020 has been a blessed year for you.
I'm so happy for you, too.
I'm so excited.
2021 is going to be huge.
You guys, listen, you guys are going to be so blessed in 2021. I'm just putting it out there. See, that's good stuff. Good karma.
Same thing for you, man. And we're all going to be on a journey together because we're all on the same frequency right now. We're all in that growth frequency. We all understand that this is an opportunity for all of us to do more, to be good role models for the world of the car business and for people. Like
after all, isn't it really about the journey? It's never about the destination.
That's it, man. Always about the journey, because we all get to our destination and we go, oh man,
it's over.
I want to go. It's over. I want to go to this other island now, right?
All right, let's go. But it's also the company that you keep when you go there.
So it is. It's so much better to be on top of the mountain with a lot of people instead of by yourself. It's nothing worse than being by yourself. So grow with people, help other people grow, educate people. Folks, FixedOPS Marketing. Make sure you go check them out. They are doing some amazing stuff. I know you guys all heard the little tidbits. You see how educated he is about his product, about what he's doing. He's talking about service departments. He's talking about sales department. He's talking about everything integrating together and working to become the best that you can possibly be. Be the best service department that you can be. You know, I don't care what arm you have behind your back, what your owner's doing. There's something that you can do is inform your customers. There's something that you can do is be better than you were yesterday. There's something that you can't. There's always something you can do, folks. So make sure you're always trying to be the best. If you can't, if you're doing that, you will be the best. Give it 365 days. You'll be surprised how far you'll come.
That's right.
I can tell you that right now. Man, I'm so honored to have you here this morning. Really, I am, Hollywood.
Guys, thank
We
you.
appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Folks, all you all out there.
Car Guys. This is Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
This is Fred Lenars, the Subprime Hero.
And we have been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast with Russell Hollywood Hill of FixedOPS Marketing. If you don't know about him or you don't have any of that inside of your cup, you need to go get you some.
Get you a big old cup of that. A venti size, folks. Get you a venti.
Thank you so much again, everybody, for joining us. Everybody that's throwing a comment in there, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. That was what a great show.
We love you all.
Yeah.
Make sure that you forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. Keep growing with FixedOPS Marketing.
Y'all take care.
Take it easy, guys. Take it easy. Have an incredible day, everybody. There's only 3 days left.
Happy New Year coming, guys. We'll see y'all Thursday morning.